Well, it doesn't get too much better than that. Arsenal 3-0 winners at Brentford. A consummate performance, really. Complete control, complete domination. The scoreline might have been even more handsome. A really fantastic result. Coming off the back of a defeat against Manchester United, the team had a long time to prepare for this one with a couple of games cancelled. They looked incredibly focused. They looked incredibly prepared. They looked ready for the challenge and they met it superbly. Really never gave Brentford a kick in the game. And that's a difficult ground to go to. I don't think you'll see many teams go to Brentford and win that comfortably. So a really, really good result. Keeps Arsenal top of the table, restores the winning form ahead of the North London derby after the international break. And I think maybe all the more impressive given that, there was a bit of a worry going into the game with the news that Martin Odegaard is missing out. I think Arsenal have lost a lot more players than they would have bargained on to injuries in the last couple of weeks. You think the likes of Smith Rowe, Tomiyasu, Tierney, Partey, Cedric have all been absentees in this early part of the season at different stages. That's a bit of a concern. On the other hand, you would say if you're going to lose players, maybe this is a better time to do it than October, when things get really spicy in terms of the frequency of the games, the importance of the games, the quality of the opposition. That's when Arsenal really will need as many players as available, fit and firing. But Arsenal, overcame without their captain today. Granit Xhaka wore the armband in his stead, and it was a captain's performance from him. I thought he was outstanding. Sky had the difficult job of picking him out of the match. I think they may have gone for Gabriel Jesus. I think you could have picked Granit Xhaka. I think you very possibly could have picked William Saliba at the back as well. I thought Gabriel had a good game too. There were a lot of good performances. Thomas Partey played well in this Arsenal team. But it was front to back a good display. Ben White, I thought, was very good in his own way. So, what to say? Well, the game kicked off at midday. Probably that helped Arsenal a little bit. Probably not quite as much as the Sky commentator suggested, but I do think, Brentford, they generate a terrific atmosphere. We experienced that last season on the Friday night. What's my dog doing? Oh, she's just scratching. Don't worry about that. And 12 p.m. kickoff, we know ourselves, it's difficult to get a raucous atmosphere going, and there's a minute silence before the game. Maybe that makes it a little bit more sombre inside the ground. But what kills an atmosphere more than anything is an early goal, and Arsenal got that from a set piece. Bukayo Saka's corner flicked on at the near post by William Saliba. Great delivery, perfect flick, in off the post. Nothing Brentford could do about it. Will teams start putting players on the back post again? I do wonder. I'm interested as to why that stopped. Presumably it's something to do with offside. But I do see a lot of goals go in on those posts, so I do wonder if that is something that might be addressed. 2-0 came not far behind, and Xhaka, I mentioned what a good performance he had. This was a great passing move, front to back. I think it involved as many outfield players as any goal Arsenal scored this season. Right from the goalkeeper up, zigzagging up the pitch, ended with Xhaka lofting in a beautiful clip cross, which Jesus met with a fantastic header. I mean, Jesus' celebration, he went over and polished Xhaka's boot. It was a beautiful cross, but he still had a lot of work to do, Jesus, and he showed great power, great movement, brilliant technique to head that into the far top corner. Gave Ryan no chance, really. So that was 2-0, and to be honest, Arsenal were pretty comfortable. What was really impressive was that you expected Brentford to rally, but time after time, Arsenal just took control of the game again. They dominated territory. It meant that Brentford barely had an outlet when they did have the ball. Ivan Toney, who's been in outstanding form, was kept very quiet. Gabriel and Saliba, such a physical pairing at the back, well suited to dealing with the kind of threat he provides. So yeah, it was just a really, really impressive Arsenal performance, and they got what they needed, which was a third goal just after half-time, which absolutely killed the game. And what a goal. Fabio Vieira on his first Premier League start, steps up, cracks in a shot, left-footed, in off the post, 25, 30 yards out. Listen, he's got all the ability in the world, this boy. I really, really believe that. Having watched, a good deal of his best moments in Portugal, there's a lot he can offer. And his technique, I don't think is in question. What is in question maybe is his capacity to deal with the physical dimension of the Premier League games. We'll see about that. We'll learn about that as time goes on. But this was a demonstration of the ability he has. And one thing he did last season for Porto regularly was score goals. He is a goal scorer, and he showed that today. So I also think worth mentioning on him, a lot of the time he was kind of coordinating the press and working hard off the ball too. So I think he's more than just a pure technical player. He looks to me like a very good alternate to Martin Odegaard, and that's why you spend that kind of money. That's why you buy a player like that. Second half, I mean, listen, there could have been more goals. I'm just looking at my notes here. Jesus was denied by Raya. Saka was denied by Raya. Brentford got through on goal once in the 70th minute. I wonder if Arsenal were a bit distracted by the immense applause that going, because it was the only time their defensive line was split. But Ramsdale came out and denied them. And I guess one of the big talking points of the day will be the fact that Arsenal gave a debut to 15-year-old Ethan Nwaneri. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's not a player I knew a great deal about until a few days ago. He's made some headlines in the past few months. You know, he stepped up to play for the under-18s, I think when he was 14 years old. Scored, I think, on his debut for them. At 15, he's played for the under-21s already. I think he made a fantastic assist playing for the under-21s. And now the youngest Premier League player in history, the youngest Arsenal player in history, almost a full year younger than Cesc Fabregas when I was there at Highbury to see him play against Rotherham in the League Cup when he was, I think just over 16 years old. Great moment for him. Not something I thought Arteta would do, I have to be honest. He's not someone who's given to sentimentality. But I don't think this was a sentimental decision. I think it was a strategic one. You know, Arsenal lost a player in Amari Hutchinson in the summer who maybe felt that his pathway to a Premier League place was a little bit congested, a little bit blocked at Arsenal. Doing something like this sends a message to every boy in the academy and says, you know, you can make it, you can achieve your goals. There is a pathway here at Arsenal. I think it feels quite deliberate, like a lot of Arsenal's actions, like giving Bukayo Saka the number 7 shirt, Emile Smith-Rowe the number 10 shirt, like naming Martin Odegaard as club captain, like choosing to spend the summer recruiting only players under the age of 23. Arsenal are communicating through actions that this is a place where young talent will prosper. And I think this substitution is part of that. And it continues to hammer home that message. And it's an exciting time. And we go into the North London Derby in a couple of weeks' time. Both teams in terrific form, we have to say. Be a really fascinating one. Let's hope we get a few players back during the international break. The likes of Zinchenko, Smith-Rowe would be very welcome to have back. Martin Odegaard, of course. But this was just, like I say, a consummate performance from Arsenal. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my Sunday. Hope you enjoy yours. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.